Moin Moin and welcome to Ralfs Foto-Bude. Yeah, today I show you a video unboxing and review together. The reason I've tested the camera so fast, it was not worth to make an unboxing video. Which camera are we talking about? We talk about the Fujifilm X100S, the newest camera from Fujifilm. It comes just at the same time like the Fuji X20. The review of the Fuji X20 is online and the video is also online. So now we have the Fujifilm X100S. Yeah, it's a camera with a 16 megapixel APS-C sensor, a fixed focal length, which has a 23mm and an aperture of 2.8. Yeah, so let's have a look. Here we are. We have the guarantee and the manual and the CD, and then here we are with the camera and accessories. So let's have a look what they have for accessories. They have the USB cable, they have the power cable, they have the battery, and they have battery charger, an external battery charger. That's what I like very much, because you can charge a spare battery outside of the camera and use the camera while charging. If you have these things where the battery is charged in the camera, you can't use the camera while charging a second battery. So, and then we have the strap. Yeah, and now here we are. Here is the X100S. So let's have a look. Yeah, so this is the X100S. One thing you will see first, that's the small s down there in the corner, which says X100S, and yeah, on top of the camera you have the X100S again. So this is the difference between the or the main difference, a visible main difference between the new and the old X100S, because the another different point is this small lever here. You see this one of the new one looks like this, and the old one looks like this. So, but it's a very small difference between these two cameras. So let's put the battery inside. It's down there again. Let's put it in and start the camera, and here we are. So one difference between the new one and the old one is here at the side. We have the switch to change between manual focus and autofocus, and so it goes in the new one, it goes from manual focus to autofocus continuous and autofocus single, and in the old one the autofocus single was in the middle. Yeah, so that's one thing they changed. Yeah, on top of the camera we have the exposure correction dial, we have the FN button, the function button, we have the shutter release, then we have the dial for the shutter speed, and the external flash shoe. The internal flash is here on the front side of the camera, and then we have the viewfinder. So let's go to the back side of the camera. Here we have 3-4 changes. One of the biggest or the most remarkable is the Q button. On the X100S they named it now Q button. On the old one it was called RAW button, but if you did the software or the firmware update, the Q button was on the RAW button. So they changed it on the software but not on the hardware, so now they have changed it on the hardware. And two other buttons changed their position. That's the AF button and the drive button. The AF button was here on the X100 and the drive button here. So it's a little bit nicer if you hold the camera in one hand like this, and you have it on the lens to change the aperture. You can use your thumb much easier to change the autofocus point, and it's easier to change the autofocus point with your thumb instead of moving your hand up and push the AF button on the back side of the camera. Yeah, so these are the most visible changes. One very small is this made in Japan on the X100 it was under the flash shoe, so they changed this. Yeah, now happens again, battery is empty, but no problem, I have the battery of the X100 and they are exactly the same, so I can change it and get it some more power. So here we are again with more power. So let's have a look at the menus. I have to change the menu, I think. Oh no, it's in English still. Thought it's in German. Yeah, on the first point we have the self timer, then we have the ISO value. First change in the ISO value, we can go up to 25,800. The old one has only 12,800, so one ISO step more. Then we have the image size. There we have the different settings, 2 to 316 to 9, 1 to 1 in the different resolutions. Then we have the image quality. There we have fine, normal, and again fine and raw, normal and raw, and only raw. And one thing you will see, if you go to fine and raw, normal and raw, or raw, the ISO settings goes down to 6,400. So that's the highest ISO setting if you shoot in raw mode. So let's go up to fine again. So then we have the dynamic range, film simulation. Yeah, here you have the different settings for the film simulation. Oh, sorry, just one down. Film simulations. You have the Provia, you have Velvia, Astia, negative film. Then you have the black and white film with the different filter settings and sepia. So these are the different settings. So the film simulation, you have this film simulation bracketing, where you can set 3 different filters for the bracketing or 3 different film simulations for the bracketing. Then you have the ND filter. One thing I miss at the X20, I would love to have a ND filter on the X20. Here you can set color, sharpness, highlight tone, shadow tone, noise reduction, and long exposure noise reduction. Then we have the custom settings. Yeah, then we have the FN button, the function button, which is on top of the camera. There you can change the settings of the function buttons between these different things: image size, quality, dynamic range, ND filter. You can switch on and off the ND filter, or that's what I love to set. Here, by the way, you have the RAW setting. If you want to change the RAW setting by pressing one button, you can do it also. And I like to set the ISO on the FN button. Yeah, one thing I show you now is a shortcut to change the setting of the FN button. You see the FN button is here, and if you press the FN button a little bit longer, you will go to the menu, to the FN button menu. So that's a nice shortcut to change the FN button setting without going to the menu. You can change it very fast and very quick. So just press the FN button a little bit longer, and here we are in the FN button menu. So let's go back to the shooting menu. Then you have the display custom settings. Here you can set the optical viewfinder settings. You have the different things like framing guideline, the electronic level, AF, MF distance indicator, histogram, aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. Then exposure compensation, flash, white balance, film simulation, dynamic range. So these are the things you can choose from. And the same is for the electronic viewfinder and LCD screen on the back side of the camera. So these are the settings. You wonder, optical viewfinder and electronic viewfinder? Yes, the X100S, like the X100, has a hybrid viewfinder. How this will work, I show you later if you don't know. So then we have the framing guide. For the white conversion lens, we have the MF Assistant. That's new. In the MF Assistant, usually we have only the standard feature. Now we have the digital split image and the focus peak highlight. How this will work, I show you later when I explain you the viewfinder and the other stuff. So then we have the advanced filters. Here you can choose from the toy camera, miniature, pop color, high key and low key, dynamic tone, soft focus, and you have then different partial filters, and that's it. So go back to the menu. Then we have the autofocus mode. We have the autofocus illuminator. That's here in front of the camera. Then we have the AE and AF lock mode. We can change the setting of the button if you only want to AE lock or AF lock only, or you can lock both. Then you have the flash, you have the red eye removal, and so that's the most important things in the shooting menu. So let's have a quick look at the setup menu. In the setup menu we have date, time difference, language, reset, silent mode. I'll show you later a shortcut for the silent mode. Frame number, you can change the direction of the focus ring, focus check, focus scale unit from meter to feet, sound setup. Then you have the screen setup where you can change the image display, EF, LCD brightness, monitor sunlight mode. I'll show you a shortcut for this point too later on. Auto rotate, and you can change the background color if you want to. So these are the screen setup. Then you have the power management where you can set up the auto power off and the high performance. Then you have the shutter count, color space, sRGB or Adobe RGB. You have the iFi transfer. That's really nice. If you use an iFi card, you can switch the iFi card off if you don't want to transfer the pictures. This saves a little bit of energy and gives you a little bit more battery life. So that's nice to have. In former times, if you use the iFi card, they will use energy the whole time. So that's much better to have this point. Yeah, and one thing I should show you in the menus too. Let's go to the drive. And if I go to the drive, you have the still image, you have the different settings for the frame per second, you have the auto exposure bracketing. Oops, sorry, waited too long. Just go back again, drive. You have the auto exposure bracketing, ISO bracketing, film simulation bracketing, dynamic range bracketing, the multiple exposure, and you have the motion panorama. And here we have the movie. And one thing I should show you in the movie, if you go to the movie menu, here you can change now between two settings, between 60 frames per second or 30 frames per second. That means 60p or 30p. The old one had only 30p, so that's new, the 60p with full HD resolution. So let's go back. Then we have the film simulation, and also new the microphone level adjustment. You can go there and set the microphone level and adjust it manually, so that's very nice. And another thing you should know, Fujifilm gives you an external microphone which comes in at the USB port here on the side of the camera. There's the USB, down there is the HDMI port, and which goes on top of the camera on the flash shoe. So if you want to make movies from a concert or something like that, and you need a very good microphone, so no problem with the X100S, you can put a microphone on the camera, so that's very nice, nice new feature. The X20 has the same now. So then you have the display custom setting and the white conversion lens. So this is new in the video shooting menu. So let's go back to the still image, and let's have a look at the still image. and I go to manual focusing. I go up to the manual focus, and here we see the split image. You see in the middle there are 4 lines, and you see the lines are not together. You can magnify it just by pressing this combi button here on top, and you will see there are the lines, and if they fit together, they are perfectly, and now the picture is sharp. So it's very easy. You may know this from old analog cameras. There you have these split thing too. So yeah, that's very nice and very easy to handle. So this is one thing, and the next thing you can change by menu, but it's much easier to change by this part here. You just press the button a little bit longer, and then you are on the peaking function. And if you use the peaking function, you can change the position of the frame like this. And if you go on a point like this and then magnify, just press the button and you magnify, and here we are, and you see perfectly. Now it's unsharp, and if it's getting sharper and sharper and sharper, you get these peaking lines, the bright white lines, which says now it's sharp. So one press again and you're in the full size image. So yeah, that's very nice. You can change the position, and maybe you see there in the back there's my copier. Sorry, there's my copier and fax. So just go there with these with a frame. Just go up there, and you will see, just magnified, and you will see now when I get in focus. When I get in focus, you get these white lines. You've seen I've turned a lot on the dial in front of the camera for focusing. You can have a shortcut just by pressing the AFL/AEL button. You see then the camera focus in, and you can do the manual focus on yourself, but it's much faster. You see, if I'm really far out of focus, just press the AFL button and you see the camera get in focus, and you can make the minimal corrections just by turning the dial. But it's much faster than just turning and turning and turning. So let's go back to the normal mode. Just press again, and we are in the standard mode, and for sure in the standard mode you can move the square again, or the frame again on the place where you want, and just press, and you see oh, sorry, that was one too much. And here we are, and just press the button and you have the same again. It just focus in, and now you can turn a little bit to put the focus on exactly the point where you want to do it. So let's go back to the full frame. The same works in the autofocus single. If you go to autofocus single, again you have the small frame for the autofocus point, and just turn the frame at a position where you want to put the frame. So if you put the frame here, just move this button here on top, and you get the frame larger and you get the frame smaller. Press the button once and you're in the middle position. So if it's too big, just press and they are small. If it's too small, just press and you're in the big position. That's it. And if you want to see if the camera put the autofocus perfectly, just press and you're in the magnifying, and then if you press the shutter, you see the camera focus in, and perfect. That's it. So, and if you want to see the full frame again, just press again and you have the full frame on the monitor. Yeah, and this third position, the middle position of the autofocus, is autofocus continuous. And in this photo, in this setting, autofocus continuous, you have these autofocus cross here in the middle of the camera. Here you see the cross in the middle of the camera, and around this cross, Fujifilm has on the X-Trans sensor some pixels which give you the face detection mode. So normally the full sensor has a contrast autofocus, but in the center of the sensor, Fuji put some autofocus sensors which give you a face detection autofocus, which is very fast. And so if you use the autofocus continuous mode, only these autofocus face detection sensors work, and so the autofocus is more accurate and the autofocus is a little bit faster than with the X100, which doesn't have this function. The X100 has only the normal contrast autofocus on the whole area, so that's a difference between the X100S and the old X100. Yeah, so let's go back to the single autofocus and let's have a look to the viewfinder. You have the view mode here. If you press it once, you have the eye sensor that's on top here. So if you put your eyes on the viewfinder, it will change. Press it again, you have only the viewfinder, and press it again, you have the LCD screen without the eye sensor. So let's go to the eye sensor and let's have a look to the viewfinder. Here we have the viewfinder. So what we see now is the electronic viewfinder. Let's get a autofocus in so we have a sharp picture. So what you see here is the electronic viewfinder. The electronic viewfinder shows you the battery life, ISO, the aperture, shutter speed, and which program you have, show you the distance, histogram, and all the stuff you want. When you choose it from the menu, you have to choose it from the menu. I showed you before how this works. If you don't see it, don't worry. You have the display back button, and so like you change the display on this screen here with the info display, the standard display, and the custom display. It's exactly the same with the viewfinder. If you press the button, you will see you have the normal display without the information, without the custom information. Press it again and you have the custom information you have chosen from the menu before. So what means hybrid viewfinder? On the front of the camera you have this small lever, and if you move the lever, the camera changes from the electronic viewfinder to the optical viewfinder. Now we have an optical viewfinder. All the information, or the most important informations, are also in the optical viewfinder. You have the autofocus field. You can change the position of the autofocus field. You see, here's the autofocus field, and I can change the position of the autofocus field. I can change so this, I can't change the size in this view, but I can change the position. So if I want to change, if I want to have the autofocus field on my nose, here we are. You have all the informations in the optical viewfinder, and the scene is very clear and crisp and sharp, and they have a very good view on the scene. So the optical viewfinder is a real nice thing to have. And you see these white frame in the picture, and if you press the shutter release button, the frame moves a little bit. So let's see, when I press the button, you see, just a second, I'm too close, I have to go a little bit away. You see the frame jumps a little bit, and that's the parallax. So the camera gives you exactly the position where the scene is, and gives you exactly the frame which you take. If you want to see how this works, you see I'm here and I press the button, the frame, the frame moves down, and compare it with the electronic viewfinder, because the electronic viewfinder gives you always the perfect frame, and you see here we are. So that's one nice thing. At the optical viewfinder, you always see exactly the thing you want to take the picture. So it's not like not exactly, but it's really nice to have. So The question is, why do we need an electronic viewfinder? I mean, the optical viewfinder is so nice and so clear. So what's the reason to have an electronic viewfinder? Very easy. If I take it, very simple. If I take a picture, you see, I take a picture. Here we are. You see the image you've taken directly in the viewfinder. So that's a very, very nice feature, because you can control the picture you've taken. You can see the picture you've taken. You don't have to put the camera away from your eye and look on the LCD screen. You can see the image directly in the viewfinder. You take a picture with the optical viewfinder, push the button, take the picture, and you see the result directly in the viewfinder on the electronic viewfinder. And this is a real nice function, and I like this function very, very much. You see, give you a smile, and here we are. So that's the hybrid viewfinder. I like it so much. I would love to have the hybrid viewfinder on every camera on the X20 for sure. Yeah, so this is the how the hybrid viewfinder works. And for sure, if you go to manual focusing, you will see all the things you have on the screen on the back side. You will have all the things too on the in the viewfinder. Here, just go to the electronic viewfinder. You have the square there, and if you press the button, you see here we are. We have the bigger size. It's I mean, it's not a good point. Let's change the position of the focus frame. Just go like here. Sorry. Let's go here at this place, and if I go to magnify, okay, and now magnify, here we are, you see it's magnifying. Yeah, and you have the split focus too. You have you can just move to digital split image, and you can change to focus peak. So that's very nice. You can take pictures and you can change the menus. You can do everything with the viewfinder. It's very nice to work with this combination of an optical and an electronic viewfinder. I like this function very, very much. Yeah, so I will show you some shortcuts. You know, the shortcut of the FN button, and there are 3 more shortcuts. That's the Q button. If you press the Q button a little bit longer, you will have the sun function. The LCD monitor brightens up. It's much brighter than before. Just press again long, and here we are normal. If you press the back button a little bit longer, you go in the silent mode. So the camera is absolutely quiet, no light, no flash, no everything. So that's very nice, the silent mode. I can give you an example how quiet the camera is. If you take a picture in the silent mode, it sounds like this. Did you hear anything? Again? That's it. Almost nothing. Yeah, press the display button again a little bit longer. Oh, sorry, I'm in the replay mode. Press the button a little bit longer, and here we are. And now the sound of the camera is with all these electronic sounds is like this. You can change the sound for the shutter release. Yeah, but it's like this. Okay, so and the third one is the menu button. If you press the menu button a little bit longer, you can lock the button. You lock the Q button and you lock the 4-way button, but you don't lock here on this side the drive button and the view mode button. So it's only this area which is locked from the lock mode. So press again, and there's unlocked the camera. I will change to the screen because the eye sensor works now. So I'll just go 1 second. Oops, back again, and here, no, one more. Here we are. So Yeah, so, and yeah, what else do we have? We have the white balance here. You can change in the white balance exactly the white balance you like. You can move the point to exactly the position where you want, hold a white sheet of paper in front and put the point exactly at the position where you want it. Then we have the AE mode, the exposure mode, you have the multi, you have spot or you have average setting for the different exposure modes. You have the macro mode, you can change in the macro mode for close-up shots. So yeah, so these are the most important settings. One thing I should show you is the Q, and it's very easy. Or I showed you before, just I think, yeah, I showed you before the Q mode. So let's see, this is how the Q works again. So I like this very much. So yeah, so these are the most important settings. And one thing you will miss, picture quality. Talking about the picture quality of the X100S, picture quality of this camera, I think it's amazing and it's outstanding quality, because if you go to the high ISO area like 12,800, you won't see any noise. I mean, a little bit, yeah, but it's really, it's so fantastic how low the noise is. And even if you go up to 25,600, the noise is even, it's visible, but it's still okay. The picture is sharp. On my Flickr account you can see some of the example pictures, and you will see how good the quality in high ISO area is. Talking low ISO, I mean, fantastic. The picture is very, very detailed. It's very sharp. There's one step from the 12 megapixel sensor of the old X100 to the X100S. There's a step up in the details, and even the contrast is much better. And you will see the X100 has no low pass filter, so that gives her more sharpness, more brilliance. And in the Flickr account you will see some pictures from a concert hall taken by night, and the bright lights of the windows were a little bit blurry outside with the X100. So the low pass filter seems to make it a little bit blurry and unsharp. With the X100S, it's perfect sharp, it's crisp, clear, and very, very nice. The XE1, also with this new X-Trans sensor, gives you almost the same picture quality. The X100S is a little bit better. The pictures are a little bit more, have a little bit more contrast and just a little bit less noise than the XE1. But I mean, the difference is very, very, very low. So X100S and XE1 are the cameras with, in my opinion, was one of the best high ISO qualities I've ever seen. Yeah, so if you're looking for a nice camera, back to old school photography, only aperture and shutter speed, no programs, no portrait, no sport, no landscape, no nothing, just taking pictures with aperture and shutter speed, manual focusing, and very easy to handle, this is the right camera for you. It's very nice, it's very good picture quality, it's nice to touch, it's nice to feel, and the lens is very low, so you can put the camera perfect in your pocket. It's not a big long lens, it's a very short lens, and yeah, I like the X100 very much. For me it's a very good and nice camera. I love the X100. Yeah, so these are the main features and main functions of the X100, some shortcuts. Hope you enjoyed my review. Hope it gives you a little bit of an idea what the camera, the X100S is, and hope it helps you a little bit to find out if this camera is the right stuff for you and fits your needs best, or maybe the XE1. I have a lot of pictures on my Flickr account. The review is only in German on my internet site, Ralfs Foto-Bude.de. There's some much more videos on my YouTube account for the XE1, for the X20. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Come back again, and for now I say bye bye and moin moin.